Good evening, peoples. I wanted to jump in and get Tesla and TSLY out since they reported earnings after the market closed. And as you may know, if you looked, excuse me. Okay, so they missed earnings. Let me jump into this where I have that. I think I have it in, nope, I have it in holdings. Nope, I have it in weekly. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So, good news, bad news, right? So, what did Tesla do today? I'll just do it from here since most of you know I also have it in the July tab. So, it was just in regular market hours, it was down $5, right? From 251 down to 246. What did Tesla do in regular market hour? Went down from 1670 to 1648. So let's go ahead and look at it. So we were down in TSLA less, right? One minus 1.32 versus minus 2.04. Okay, no new shares, actually 50,000 redemption, right? So 50,000 net loss in shares. So they lost a little bit of money. But when we continue on the weekly, I wanted to make some points here. First off, not that you totally care. Some of you do. Some of you like this, but I'm going to tell you, regardless if you like it or don't like it, I'm very bullish midterm and long term on Tesla. I just think between all the tech they have, it's fabulous. I'm not worried about 1 quarter, 2 quarters. I own some Tesla. I think a small, well, for me, it's small compared to some other positions, but 1,000 shares of Tesla. I just view it as income. But that, to me, that's not where the money's made yet. Eventually, they'll get that right. The problem, and I brought this up a lot, when it does get the big impulse wave, we just went through one. Now we're retracing and so forth. The income's going to be good. I'm actually predicting a nice payout this month. The issue becomes own the underlying or own a 2x ETF, all kinds of strategies for making money when Tesla's running, and some strategies to flip that to 2x leverage, 1x leverage, bear funds, ETF funds. So there's a lot of ways to play that because Tesla still has a high IV. There's a lot of money there. There's love and hate on both sides for Tesla. But there's no doubt that Elon Musk is brilliant and has some brilliant technology. So sometimes haters come because they played it and lost money. I try to just overlook that and just look and say, this is an AI company, number one. Most people say, oh, it's NVIDIA. Heck, they got as much AI in here, right? It's really an AI on wheels. And then full driving, sorry, robo taxi, Neuralink learning. If any of you looked into that kind of technology, implant to make the mind think and move artificial limbs and move I mean, it's just eye-opening where some of that stuff's going, let alone just the next gen, the way you got, I forget what you call it, the vacuum cleaner that runs around your house, the automated robot, right? Because it's evolved. Heck, my sister and brother-in-law now have, and I'm sure some of you do, these Bluetooth litter for their cats. And, it weighs them, tells them when they're going, when they're out. I mean, an amazing tech, thousands of dollars, right, for an automated Bluetooth litter box, if you will. And again, so you can't think auto. Think about that 10,000 if he can get down to that price in a few years, having a robot in your house, doing all kinds of things for you. So anyway, I'll get back to this. So on the earnings front, they reported 52 cents, and the analysts in the market was expecting 62 cents. Remember, he said he had positive deliveries, right? So they missed that by 16.15. So they also missed, profits fell quarter over quarter. Their peak in auto sales were back in 2022. So, they lowered interest rate. I thought that was a brilliant move to get more out the door in this environment. But I really don't worry about the car company. There's so much other tech in there that he'll spin out or keep under the Tesla umbrella or whatever, but there's just trillions and trillions of dollars worth of market cap potential. But, just take the car alone. That's probably going to drive Tesla in 5 years to a $500 stock, right? From a 227 in after hours, which I'll talk about. But with all this other stuff, it's probably thousands and thousands of dollars. But again, not without massive volatility. So I'm doing all kinds of plays. I just sold some naked calls when it, again, at 265, I had sold some at 235, 240, and had to wait to get profitable on those by selling more. Then I just put more on because I didn't think for sure they were going to be able to run up, right? But but that doesn't mean I don't own some Tesla, right? Because let me get into that. So I call it yin and yang. We're going to win on one side on the weeklies because we've already dropped in the aftermarket to 227, right? So these are a shoe in to get our money this week based on that. Now, it's not to say it doesn't come back up and go to 235 or 240, but I don't think it goes back to the levels of 250 and so forth. Let's see, right? Hard to predict day to day, but we were down and we finished after hours trading at 227. I think pre-market will give us an idea. And I'll be looking to buy back those calls in the pre-market because I sold them for a real good, what I considered a real good profit, mainly because the premium's been so big. So there's a lot of trades around Tesla just based on it. But I still like the income from it. If you said to me, where is it going to be in 2 or 3 years? I think it's going to be substantially higher. I don't think we're in that, retracement that where we went down to 100. Now, the markets could change that. If the whole market revalues tech and everything else and goes down 30%, then Tesla is liable to do that as well. But what a bargain I would be buying with both hands, just buying the underlying. I mean, this may be an opportunity to buy the underlying and write some covered calls out a few weeks and just, maybe get called out. And if you don't, you keep the premium. So there's all kinds of opportunities here. All right, so let's jump into the rest. Let's talk about the holding, where we gain and where we lose. Okay, so the synthetic dropped as you would expect. Now, this isn't even the 227, right? This is just the $5 drop here to 39. And now I wasn't even carrying this number down here because it was under a million, then it was 1.5 million. So I show the total loss in the synthetic at 42.3 million, but I'm only showing the basically 39.9. So let's talk about that first. That's the bad news, right? So with that further $19 drop from 246 to 227 in the aftermarket, again, who knows what is actually going to open at in the morning, because then you got pre-market. It could be 220, could be 235. But the point is, this is going to get bigger. But this is a paper liability. This isn't a cashed out in the bank. So that's where we're at. We're at 40 million, and technically because there's two synthetics, right? The 260 and 265. Well, look at this. We had collected 12.5, but it was costing us at the end of the day 15.4 to buy them back, even though we weren't up to these numbers because of the high IV. So this carry premium for 3 more days. But guys, with that $19 drop, these things should drop radically. So they may be able to, like this one, the 1,005, this one's pretty good in the money. They could buy it back for 2 and they sold it for 4. But several of these other ones are still showing, even on the 246, as losses, right? So's this one. This is the big guy. They'd have to spend 15 to buy back 12. Well, I can guarantee you, if it opens at 227, this guy's probably at 50% capture. They could probably buy it back at 6 or 7. So I see them winning that. If it stays 227, 230, even 235 within a day or two, they should be able to buy these back on Thursday for 95, 99% of their money, right? So we lose on one and we gain on the other. But guys, this one's more important to our piggy bank than this one. This one has time. This is out to 816. They don't even have to roll this before we get paid. So I'm trying to show you in the fund where the money is. All right. So it closes 1648 and it's saying 1648's value. Again, this is the, look at this up and down, yin and yang here. We had a 60 million. Well, guys, it's going to be greater than 60 if we finish the day. Remember, this value doesn't get reported till the end of trading day tomorrow. So the pre-market's going to be ugly and then could go up, could go down further. You know, nobody has that crystal ball. The other thing, let me make sure I covered everything in the weekly. So the storage energy, very positive, right? It was like, I think I don't know if it was 3 billion, you know, it was a big number. So their energy storage revenue was up double over the quarter last year. Okay. Their actual profit overall was down 45%. And their particular quarter, this quarter, and what they were expected to report, and they reported was down 16, 15. So you got numbers all over the place. It's clear right now electric vehicles aren't selling that well. Honestly, the car sales aren't that great. There's a lot more credit card debt. There's a lot more recessionary symptoms in the environment, and the stock market is way closer to a high than a low. So, you know, people at the lower end of the spectrum are tightening up, and car interest rates are still incredibly high. That's why Elon instituted that, you know, 0% interest. Could you imagine if they didn't do that incentive? Okay, so we know what's happening there. Let's take a look at payouts because that's all to really tell you. So I tried to sum this up right now in the kitty. We got a total of $1.79 because they could go out and pay $1.30 easily, which is brilliant. Now, what in the aftermarket, TSLA was showing 1550. So it's ugly and it will be ugly. Okay. But I think they're going to pay the IV. You're going to get over $1 in payment because they have it. The only thing that may hurt that is if they roll that synthetic. But I don't know that they will. That's before, right? They don't have to because it's an 8/16 expiration. And we get paid somewhere around the 8th. And I think we declare on the 6th, right? Yeah. Declaration is 8/6. I haven't updated the actual payout date. But it depends on if it's a weekend. I probably could figure it out here. Yeah, I'll bet you they pay on the 8th. So it's very likely that our actual pay in August is the 8th because you always have declaration. Then next day you have ex dividend. And if you don't have a weekend in there, usually the payday. So I'd say at 95% probability is that the pay date's 8/8. So it's declaration that matters. So they don't have to roll before then. They could choose for other reason to roll, right? But it doesn't look like they're going to have to spend any money to buy these back. It looks like they're going to win them all. And that, unless it rose up into the 260s, which would have taken a positive earnings, I think it's no doubt we've won these. So that's what I got for you. I still got a positive on the earnings. I mean, to me, it's hard to say on the 1550, but it's probably a bargain. I know a lot of you have been burned. A lot of you maybe owned it higher, still holding it. But if you did, you got enough revenue out of it to more than break even. It's very ugly in these income funds when they fall rapidly. it doesn't matter if it's a slow or a rapid. If you fall greatly, right? If you go down 70, 50, some big percentage, you're going to get that same pull down in these income funds. You're just going to have the comfort of income along the way. So if it's a 75% retrace, you might only feel a 60% retrace because you're getting income along the way. And then the other problem in the income fund, when it just takes off and runs back up, you can't do that. You're a third or a half or a fourth if when you get capped. And it's not like they can go out and write out of the money 25%. They collect almost no money. So their script and prospectus says, that where they're going to get the money to pay you is going to come out of the weeklies. Now, do they go over here and take it out of this? Look, and our weeklies, we're losing 32 million. All the money's been made in synthetic. And now the synthetic is facing a 40 million that could become a 60 million loss, right? Depends on what we do. Do we stay at 227 or do we move up at open or drop down? So that's going to dictate that. But that's not piggy bank money yet, right? So this 15 million that we would have had to pay, I don't see any way at all that they don't just win these all and they could win them all by Thursday and then go right next week and have 6 days of premium. So anyway, I'm positive on the revenue. I'm positive on the company. Mixed on, if somebody said to me, well, Bruce, when's it going to get to $20 and all that? Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I think a couple of quarters, this company is going to show promise in other areas. Remember, they got the whole August, October on FSD. That's going to take a while. That tech, with all the regulation, it's got to be safe. You can't just turn cars driving themselves. But boy, are these guys the leaders. They've got a lot of good tech there. And Elon is brilliant, on some of their battery tech and energy storage and some of the other stuff. They're going to be a leader. They are an AI on wheels, a supercomputer, if you will. Okay, guys, that's what I got for you. I didn't mean to be so long, but I wanted to get this out here tonight and front run this thing so you know what you've got, right? And you don't panic and go, oh man, if anything, you're probably going to get more revenue, but that's up to Yilmax what they want to pay, but they got the money to pay. Okay, guys, again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Have a good evening. Bye for now.